The Forgotten Fleet. The massive solar arrays of the ESS Helios stretched out like tattered wings against the backdrop of stars, their once pristine surfaces dulled by decades of micrometeorite impacts. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Luna Base, watching her ship with a mixture of pride and resignation. After 30 years of faithful service, the Helios and the rest of Earth's solar-powered fleet were being decommissioned, replaced by ships sporting the latest in quantum drive technology. Still brooding over your ancient relic, the voice belonged to Fleet Admiral Torres, his pristine quantum fiber uniform, a stark contrast to Chen's weathered solar fleet jacket. The quantum ships can cross the solar system in days instead of months, Sarah. Progress marches on. Chen didn't turn from the window. Those quantum ships need constant maintenance, Admiral. Their artificial gravity fails if someone sneezes wrong. The Helios has never failed a mission, not once in 30 years. The maintenance costs alone, Torres began, are nothing compared to recalibrating quantum matrices every week. Chen finished. They'd had this argument too many times over the past year. My ships run on sunlight, Admiral. Free, clean, and eternal. No exotic particles, no quantum uncertainty, no cascade failures. Torres sighed. The decision's been made. The solar fleet will be scrapped next week. I'm sorry, Sarah. Before Chen could respond, her wrist comm chirped. Lieutenant Patel's voice came through, tense with excitement. Captain, you need to see this. Both of you. Minutes later, they stood in Luna Base's sensor control room. Patel, the station's senior sensor officer, pointed to a display showing a strange pattern of energy readings. We picked this up an hour ago. It's like nothing we've ever seen. Location? Torres asked, leaning in. That's the weird part, Patel replied. It's coming from the Kuiper Belt. But here's the thing. None of our quantum sensors can get a clear reading. The signal pattern keeps causing quantum decoherence in the detection arrays. Then how did you detect it? Chen asked, though she suspected she knew the answer. Patel smiled. The Helios old-style radio telescope array was still linked to our systems. Its simple electromagnetic sensors had no problem picking up the signal. Chen felt a familiar warmth in her chest. Even now, her old ship was proving its worth. Have you decoded it? Working on it, Patel said, fingers dancing over his console. The pattern suggests artificial origin. Definitely not natural background radiation or stellar phenomena. Torres straightened, his earlier dismissiveness forgotten. First contact. If it is, Chen said, we need to know more. And right now, the only ships with sensors that can study this signal are scheduled for the scrapyard. Torres met her eyes, understanding passing between them. He smoothed his uniform. I'll make some calls. But Sarah, he fixed her with a stern look, don't get your hopes up. This might be nothing. Chen nodded, but her mind was already racing. She knew her ships, knew what they could do. If there was something out there, something that their modern technology couldn't handle, the solar fleet might be their only option. The next 12 hours passed in a blur of activity. The decommissioning orders were suspended, and Chen watched with satisfaction as her crew returned to the Helios. They were a mix of veterans who'd served with her for years and younger officers who'd chosen the solar fleet, despite its reputation as a career dead-end. Many in the fleet saw assignment to the primitive solar-powered vessels as punishment, but Chen had always sought out officers who could appreciate the ship's reliability and elegance. Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez met her at the airlock, her dark hair streaked with gray. She'd been with the ship almost as long as Chen had. Everything's just as we left it, Captain. The arrays are charged, and all systems are nominal. Old girls ready to fly. As they made their way to the bridge, Chen could feel the ship coming alive around them. The gentle hum of the solar electric converters, the soft whisper of the air recyclers, the subtle vibration in the deck plates, all sounds that modern ships had engineered away, deemed too crude for the quantum age. But to Chen, they were the heartbeat of a trusted friend. The bridge was already staffed when she arrived. Patel had transferred over from Luna Base, bringing his expertise with the signal. He sat at the sensor station, working with the ship's science officer, Dr. Lisa Wong, to analyze the mysterious transmission. "Report," Chen ordered, settling into her command chair. "Signal's still there, Captain," Patel replied. "Getting stronger, actually. Whatever it is, it's moving into the solar system." Just then, Admiral Torres's voice came through the bridge speakers. "Captain Chen, we're picking up something new. Multiple objects just appeared at the edge of our sensor range. They're big, and they're moving fast." The main screen lit up with sensor data. Dozens of objects, each larger than any ship in Earth's fleet, were heading toward the inner solar system. Their design was alien, all sweeping curves and strange geometries that seemed to hurt the eyes if you looked at them too long. "Captain," Patel called out, his voice tense. "The signal, it's changed. Broadcasting on all frequencies now. I think." He paused, double-checking his readings. "I think it's a message." The bridge fell silent as garbled sounds filled the speakers, slowly resolving into recognizable words through the ship's simple translation matrix. "Your quantum technology is primitive. Your understanding of reality is flawed. Your existence offends us. Prepare for extinction." Chen's hands gripped her armrests as she watched more ships appear on the screen. Humanity's first contact with alien life, and it was anything but peaceful. She could already imagine the panic spreading through the fleet as the news reached Earth. But as she sat there, watching the alien armada approach on her ship's primitive sensors, a plan began to form in her mind. The aliens had called Earth's quantum technology primitive. Maybe that meant they weren't prepared for something even more primitive, something as simple and reliable as sunlight and solar electric engines. "Send word to Fleet Command," she ordered, her voice steady. "The solar fleet stands ready to defend Earth." She allowed herself a small smile. "And someone tell Admiral Torres he might want to hold off on those decommissioning orders." The Helios hung in space, its solar arrays drinking in the sun's energy as it prepared to face an enemy that saw humanity's most advanced technology as nothing more than toys. But Captain Chen knew better. Sometimes the old ways were the best ways, and before this was over, she would prove just how dangerous primitive technology could be. First Contact's shadow. The alien ships moved through space like liquid shadow, their hulls absorbing rather than reflecting light. Earth's defense fleet scrambled to respond, their quantum drives pushing them to velocities the old solar fleet could never match. Captain Chen watched from the Helios bridge as the sleek modern vessels took up defensive positions, their quantum shields humming with enough power to stop a small moon. "Quite a light show they're putting on," Rodriguez commented over the comm. She'd been monitoring the energy readings from engineering. All those quantum ships burning through exotic particles like there's no tomorrow. Chen nodded, though her engineer couldn't see her. The new ships were impressive, she had to admit. Each one carried enough firepower to level a continent. But something about this situation made her uneasy. The aliens' dismissal of quantum technology seemed too pointed, too specific. "Lieutenant Patel, any changes in the alien signal?" she asked. "No, Captain. Still broadcasting the same message." But Patel paused, adjusting something on his console. "There's something else buried in the transmission. Some kind of carrier wave that our old electromagnetic sensors can detect, but the quantum sensors seem to miss completely." Before Chen could respond, the main screen lit up with a priority transmission from Fleet Command. Admiral Torres appeared, his face tense. "Captain, we're picking up massive energy buildups from the alien fleet. They're preparing to engage. All ships are ordered to battle stations." "Understood, Admiral. What are our orders?" "Stay back and observe," Torres replied. "Your ships are too valuable to risk in direct combat until we know what we're dealing with." Chen wanted to argue, but she held her tongue. Something still felt wrong about this whole situation. "Acknowledged. Solar Fleet will maintain safe distance and monitor the situation." The screen went dark, and Chen turned to her crew. Battle stations. I want everyone ready for anything. The aliens struck first. Strange pulses of dark energy rippled out from their ships, beautiful and terrible at the same time. The Earth fleet responded immediately, their quantum weapons lighting up space with destructive power. For a moment, it seemed like humanity's advanced technology would carry the day. Then everything went wrong. "Captain," Patil called out, his voice urgent. "That carrier wave I detected, it's changing. The energy pattern is..." He never finished his sentence. The alien pulses reached the Earth fleet, and suddenly every quantum-powered ship went dark. Their shields flickered and died, their weapons fell silent, even their communication systems went dead. "My God," Chen whispered, watching Earth's mighty fleet drift helplessly in space. They knew exactly how to disable our quantum technology. "Captain," Rodriguez's voice came through, steady despite the crisis. "I'm analyzing the alien weapon. It's some kind of quantum field disruptor. It's targeting the exotic particle matrices specifically." She paused, and Chen could hear the smile in her voice. "But our solar electric systems, they're completely unaffected." Chen leaned forward in her chair. "Because we're too primitive. Their weapon was designed to disable advanced quantum technology. They never bothered to account for simple solar power and electromagnetic systems." The bridge crew exchanged looks as the implications sank in. The solar fleet, the ships they'd been about to scrap, were now the only functioning warships in Earth's defense force. "Dr. Wang," Chen called to her science officer, "what's the status of the alien fleet?" "They're moving toward Earth, Captain. At their current speed, they'll be in weapons range of the planet in 6 hours." Wang's fingers flew over her console. "But I'm detecting something interesting. Their ships are generating massive amounts of heat, far more than our quantum ships ever did, and they're making no attempt to hide it." Chen felt a plan beginning to form. Of course they're not hiding it. Why would they? Any civilization advanced enough to build quantum drives would use quantum sensors that can see through thermal masking. They never expected to encounter someone still using primitive thermal imaging. She stood up, her decision made. "Get me fleet command. And Maya, I want to know exactly how much power we can draw from our solar arrays if we push them to the limit. We're about to teach these aliens the danger of underestimating primitive technology." The next hour was chaos. With most of the fleet's quantum communication systems down, coordinating a response proved challenging. But the solar fleet's old-style radio systems still worked perfectly, allowing them to relay messages between the disabled ships and Earth. Admiral Torres, now operating from a ground station, appeared on their screen. "Sarah, please tell me you have good news. We're getting reports of global panic. Our ground-based quantum defenses are already failing, and..." "The solar fleet is fully operational," Chen interrupted. "And I have a plan. But you're not going to like it." She explained quickly. The alien ships were running hot, probably because their advanced technology required massive amounts of energy. That meant they were generating enormous heat signatures that the solar fleet's primitive thermal sensors could track with perfect accuracy. More importantly, the alien ships showed no signs of conventional thermal shielding. They've left themselves completely exposed to old-style thermal weapons, Chen concluded. They're so focused on quantum technology, they've forgotten the basics of thermodynamics. One good concentrated burst of infrared energy in the right spot could overload their systems. "And how exactly do you plan to deliver this burst of energy?" Torres asked. "The solar fleet has no weapons." Chen smiled. "No quantum weapons, Admiral. But we do have enormous solar arrays designed to absorb and concentrate solar energy. With some modifications, we could turn them into the biggest set of thermal lenses humanity has ever built." "It's a suicide mission," Torres said flatly. "You'd have to get dangerously close to the alien ships, right in the middle of their formation." "Maybe," Chen agreed. But right now, we're the only ships that can fight back. And I'm not about to let those aliens destroy our world just because they think we're primitive." There was a long pause before Torres nodded. "Do it." And Sarah, "Good hunting." The Helios's solar electric systems hummed to life as they prepared for battle. Rodriguez had coaxed every bit of power she could from the arrays, rerouting energy from non-essential systems. They wouldn't be as fast as the alien ships, but they had something better. They were invisible to quantum sensors, hiding in plain sight. "Ready on my mark," Chen ordered, watching the alien fleet grow larger on their thermal displays. "Lieutenant Patel, keep monitoring their energy signatures. Dr. Wong, I want continuous thermal scans of their hull frequencies. Maya, give us everything you can from those arrays." The crew responded with quiet determination. They all knew the stakes. They all knew the odds. But they also knew that sometimes the simplest solution was the best solution. "Captain," Patel called out suddenly, "I'm detecting power fluctuations in the alien fleet. Their quantum weapons are charging." "Hold course," Chen ordered. "Maya, how are our thermal shields?" "Old-style ceramic tiles and radiation coating, Captain. Simple, reliable, and working perfectly." The alien weapons fired, filling space with deadly quantum energy. But the solar fleet's basic thermal shielding held. Their simple systems had no quantum fields to disrupt, no exotic particles to destabilize. They just absorbed or reflected the energy the old-fashioned way, through basic physics. "They're adjusting their attack pattern," Wong reported, "moving to surround us." Chen smiled grimly, just as she'd expected. The aliens were so convinced of their superiority, they couldn't imagine that primitive technology could pose a real threat. That arrogance would be their undoing. "All ships," she broadcast to the solar fleet, "prepare to execute Operation Archimedes. Let's show these aliens what happens when you concentrate a little sunlight in the right place." Silent running. Captain Chen watched her tactical display as the alien fleet moved to encircle the solar ships. The massive vessels glowed bright on their thermal sensors, their heat signatures like miniature suns against the cold of space. Earth's quantum fleet drifted helplessly in the distance, their advanced systems still paralyzed by the alien attack. "All ships in position," Rodriguez reported from engineering. "Solar arrays aligned and ready. We're at maximum collection efficiency." Chen nodded, studying the alien formation. They'd taken the bait, surrounding the seemingly harmless solar fleet just as she'd hoped. "Begin Operation Archimedes. Maya, start the array rotation sequence." Across the solar fleet, enormous panels began to shift, their surfaces catching and reflecting sunlight in precise patterns. It was an old technique, one that dated back to Earth's earliest days of space exploration, using solar arrays as mirrors to concentrate sunlight. "Alien vessels are responding," Wong reported from her science station. "They're charging weapons." "Let them," Chen replied calmly. "Maintain formation." "Maya, how long until we reach critical concentration?" 2 minutes to optimal focus, Captain. But our arrays weren't designed for this kind of precision. We'll only get one shot before the panels overheat. The alien ships fired again, their quantum weapons lighting up space. But the solar fleet's simple thermal shielding continued to hold, the ceramic tiles absorbing or deflecting the energy harmlessly away. 1 minute to critical concentration, Rodriguez announced. "Arrays at 80% capacity." "Captain," Patel called out, "I'm detecting massive power fluctuations in the alien fleet. Their energy signatures are spiking." Chen leaned forward. They'd finally realized what we're doing. But it's too late. "Maya, 30 seconds. Arrays at 90%. The alien ships began to move, trying to break their formation. But they'd positioned themselves perfectly for Chen's trap, each vessel precisely placed to catch the reflected sunlight from multiple solar arrays. 15 seconds. Arrays at 95%. "Captain, the panels are starting to warp. We're pushing them way beyond specs." "Hold position," Chen ordered. All ships maintain focus. We only need a few more seconds. The bridge grew noticeably warmer as the solar arrays strained against the enormous energy they were channeling. Warning alarms blared across the fleet as panel temperatures approached critical levels. Arrays at maximum capacity. Rodriguez shouted, "We have optimal focus." Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "All ships, execute Archimedes' protocol. Now." In perfect synchronization, the solar fleet's arrays made one final adjustment. Concentrated beams of solar energy, focused by dozens of enormous panels, converged on the alien vessels from multiple angles. It was like being caught in the focal point of 1,000 giant magnifying glasses. The effect was immediate and devastating. The aliens' quantum technology might have been advanced, but their thermal management systems were woefully inadequate against such a basic attack. Their hull temperatures skyrocketed, overwhelming their heat sinks and cooking their internal systems. Direct hits on multiple vessels. Wang reported, excitement breaking through her professional demeanor. Their power systems are cascading. They're losing containment. Across the alien fleet, ships began to go dark as their overtaxed systems failed. Some managed to engage emergency protocols, their hulls venting plasma in desperate attempts to shed heat. Others simply drifted, their quantum technology rendered useless by nothing more complex than concentrated sunlight. "Maya, status of our arrays?" Chen asked, watching the alien fleet crumble. "Half the panels are warped beyond repair, Captain. We'll need a complete replacement before we can try that again. But we got enough functional surface area to maintain basic power." "Captain," Patil interrupted, "the alien signal, it's changed again." The bridge speakers crackled to life, but this time the alien message was different. "Cease attack. We miscalculated. Request dialogue." Chen allowed herself a small smile. Looks like they're finally ready to show some respect for primitive technology. "Lieutenant Patil, get me fleet command. Let's see if we can get our quantum ships back online and have a proper first contact discussion." As her crew worked to restore communications with Earth's disabled fleet, Shen reflected on the irony of their victory. The aliens had been right. Humanity's quantum technology was primitive compared to theirs. But they'd failed to understand that sometimes the simplest solutions were the most elegant. Sometimes progress meant remembering where you came from, not just racing toward where you were going. "Admiral Torres is on the line," Captain Patil announced. "He's requesting a full report." Chen looked out at the alien fleet, their mighty ships humbled by nothing more than focused sunlight and basic physics. "Tell him the solar fleet sends its regards, and suggests that maybe those decommissioning orders need a permanent revision." The tension on the bridge broke as her crew laughed. They'd proven that humanity's obsolete technology still had value, that progress didn't always mean abandoning the past. More importantly, they'd shown that true advancement came not from the complexity of your technology, but from how cleverly you used it. "Maya," Chen called to her engineer. "What's the status of the Helios coffee maker, the old-fashioned one that actually boils water?" "Still working perfectly, Captain. Just like everything else that's obsolete on this ship." "Good. I think it's time we introduced our alien friends to some primitive human hospitality, and maybe teach them a thing or two about the value of keeping things simple." As her crew prepared for their first peaceful contact with the alien visitors, Shen couldn't help but feel proud. The solar fleet had saved Earth not through advanced quantum mechanics or exotic particle physics, but through the clever application of fundamental principles. It was a lesson she hoped both humanity and their new alien acquaintances would remember. Sometimes the old ways weren't just reliable. They were revolutionary. The light of ancient stars. The observation lounge of the ESS Helios had never hosted such an unusual gathering. Captain Chen sat across from the alien representative, a being whose iridescent form seemed to shift between solid and liquid states. Admiral Torres and his quantum fleet officers sat to her right, while her own solar fleet crew flanked her left. Between them sat a simple ceramic pot of steaming coffee, something the aliens had specifically requested after scanning its intriguingly efficient thermal properties. "We must acknowledge our error," the alien delegate spoke, its translator converting complex wave patterns into human speech. "Our civilization has pursued quantum advancement for so long, we forgot the fundamental principles that made such advancement possible." Chen poured another cup of coffee for the alien, who had developed a surprising fondness for the beverage. "It's an easy mistake to make. Humanity nearly made the same one. We were so excited by quantum technology that we almost scrapped our entire solar fleet." "A fleet that saved your world," the alien observed, its form rippling with what Chen had learned to recognize as amusement. "Using principles of thermodynamics that our own scientists haven't applied in millennia. The sheer elegance of the solution. It has forced us to reevaluate many assumptions." Admiral Torres set down his own cup. "We've been reviewing the data from the battle. Your quantum disruption field was incredibly sophisticated. It disabled our most advanced systems instantly, but you had no defense against basic thermal weapons. Why would we?" The alien's form shimmered. No quantum-capable civilization we'd encountered had ever used such primitive methods. We designed our defenses around quantum weapons, dark energy projectors, dimensional shears. The idea of being attacked with focused sunlight never occurred to us. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," Rodriguez commented from her seat. The engineer had been studying the alien's technical specifications with barely contained excitement. "Though I have to admit, your quantum drive systems are incredible. The power efficiency alone is decades beyond anything we've achieved." The alien delegate turned to her, its form taking on the deeper hues that indicated serious consideration. "Perhaps there is an opportunity here. Your solar technology, while simple, demonstrates principles our civilization has forgotten, and our quantum advances could significantly benefit Earth's development." "A technological exchange?" Torres asked, leaning forward with interest. "More than that," the alien replied. "A partnership. Your people have shown us the danger of abandoning fundamental principles in pursuit of advancement. We believe there is much we could learn from each other." Chen watched the discussion unfold, feeling a sense of pride in how far they'd come from the brink of war. The aliens had arrived believing humanity's quantum technology was primitive, only to be defeated by even more primitive solar power. Now they were proposing a partnership that could benefit both civilizations. "Captain," Patel called from the doorway, "we're receiving reports from the repair crews. The quantum fleet systems are coming back online, but they're suggesting some modifications based on what we've learned." "Oh," Chen raised an eyebrow. "They want to install solar backup arrays on all quantum ships, just in case," he grinned. "And the orbital shipyards are asking about resuming construction of new solar fleet vessels." The alien delegate's form swirled with interest. "Your people are adapting quickly. This is exactly why we believe a partnership would be valuable. You understand something our civilization had forgotten. True advancement comes not from abandoning the old for the new, but from finding ways to combine both." Admiral Torres turned to Chen. "The solar fleet proved its worth beyond any doubt. I think it's time we officially canceled those decommissioning orders. In fact, I'd like to propose expanding the fleet's role. We need ships that can operate even if our quantum technology fails." "A hybrid fleet," Chen mused, warming to the idea. "Quantum drives for speed and power, solar arrays for reliability and backup. The best of both worlds." "Indeed," the alien agreed. "And perhaps we could learn to incorporate some of your thermal engineering principles into our own vessels. Our encounter has shown us the vulnerability of relying too heavily on advanced technology, while neglecting basic physics." The discussion continued late into the ship's night cycle, humans and aliens working together to plan a future that would combine the best of both their technologies. Chen listened with satisfaction as her crew shared their expertise on solar power systems, while eagerly learning about quantum mechanics from their new allies. Later, standing alone on the observation deck, Chen watched Earth rotate slowly below. The quantum fleet was back in operation, their ships now sporting hastily installed solar arrays alongside their advanced technology. In the orbital shipyards, she could see work beginning on a new class of vessel, one that would incorporate both solar and quantum technology from the ground up. "Quite a view," Rodriguez said, joining her at the window. "Never thought I'd see quantum ships with solar panels." "Times change," Chen replied with a smile, echoing Admiral Torres's words from what felt like a lifetime ago. "But that doesn't mean we have to forget where we came from." "The aliens are already talking about establishing a joint research facility on Luna," Rodriguez continued. "They're fascinated by our primitive engineering. Apparently, we've sparked quite the revolution in their scientific community." Chen nodded, watching a solar array unfurl on a nearby quantum ship like a giant silver wing catching the sun. "Sometimes you have to look backward to move forward. The aliens forgot that lesson, but they're learning it again, just like we almost forgot it ourselves." So what's next for the solar fleet? We adapt. We learn. We combine the best of the old with the best of the new. Chen turned to her engineer. "The aliens are right. True progress isn't about replacing everything that came before. It's about building on your foundation to reach new heights." As if to emphasize her point, a quantum ship passed by their window, its new solar arrays gleaming in the sunlight while its quantum drive left a subtle distortion in space behind it. The sight of such different technologies working together filled Chen with hope for the future. A future where humanity would remember that innovation didn't mean abandoning the past, but learning from it. Dawn of tomorrow. 5 years after the historic first contact battle, the ESS Helios floated in high orbit around Mars, its legendary solar arrays now complemented by sleek quantum enhancement fields. Captain Sarah Chen stood on her familiar observation deck, watching the newly completed synthesis shipyard stretch across the Martian horizon. The massive facility represented everything humanity had learned from their encounter with the aliens. Hybrid ships under construction incorporated both quantum and solar technology from the start. "Hard to believe it's only been 5 years," Admiral Torres said, joining her at the window. He wore a new uniform that combined quantum fiber with traditional materials, another symbol of humanity's evolving approach to technology. "The joint development program has exceeded all our expectations." Chen nodded, watching a test ship emerge from the shipyards. Its quantum drive pulsed with exotic energy, while massive solar arrays spread like gossamer wings, capturing the distant sunlight. The aliens were right. We had a lot to learn from each other. Though I don't think anyone expected their civilization to embrace primitive technology quite so enthusiastically. "Did you see their latest report?" Torres asked with a smile. "They've completely redesigned their planetary defense systems around thermal principles. Apparently, our primitive solution inspired a renaissance in their basic sciences program." Before Chen could respond, her comm unit chimed. Dr. Wang's excited voice came through. "Captain, Admiral, you need to see this. We're ready for the first test." Minutes later, they stood in the Helios's newly upgraded science lab. Wang and a team of human and alien scientists crowded around a device that epitomized their collaborative efforts: a quantum solar converter. The machine pulsed with exotic energy while simple solar cells absorbed and channeled power in ways that defied conventional physics. "The quantum field enhances the solar collection efficiency by 300%, Wang explained, her eyes bright with enthusiasm, "while the solar array stabilizes the quantum matrix, preventing the cascade failures that used to plague our quantum systems. It's perfect symbiosis." The alien chief scientist, whose liquid crystal form rippled with excitement, added, "We never imagined combining these technologies could yield such results. Your primitive solar principles have revolutionized our understanding of quantum mechanics." Chen studied the device with pride. It represented everything they'd fought for. Not just survival against a superior force, but the wisdom to learn from each other. "How soon until we can scale this up for ship-wide implementation?" "That's the best part," Wang replied. "We're ready now. The Helios will be the first to receive the upgrade, followed by the rest of the solar fleet. The quantum fleet ships will need some modifications, but within a year, every vessel in Earth's combined fleet will have this technology. Torres whistled softly. From nearly scrapping the solar fleet to using its principles to revolutionize space travel. Quite a journey. Speaking of journeys, the alien scientist form shifted to indicate formal communication. The Council has approved the Joint Deep Space Expedition. They believe ships combining both our technologies will be capable of reaching neighboring galaxies within a single crew's lifetime. Chen felt a familiar excitement stir in her chest, the kind she'd felt when she first joined the solar fleet, when she'd first taken command of the Helios, when she'd faced down an alien armada with nothing but focused sunlight. And they want the Helios to lead the expedition. You did teach us the value of reliability, Captain. The alien rippled with amusement. And no ship in either of our fleets has proven more reliable than this one. Later that evening, Chen stood alone in engineering, running her hand along the Helios' original solar power conduits. Soon these would be integrated with quantum technology, transforming her old ship into something new. But the heart of it, the simple, reliable core that had saved Earth, would remain. Having second thoughts, Rodriguez asked, appearing beside her. The engineer had turned down numerous promotions to stay with the Helios, overseeing its evolution. Just remembering, Chen replied. 5 years ago, they called us obsolete, ordered us scrapped. Now our primitive technology is helping both civilizations reach the stars. Rodriguez nodded, checking readings on a nearby panel where quantum data streamed alongside basic power levels. We learned from their advanced technology, and they learned from our simple solutions. Turns out the best way forward was to remember where we came from. The best of both worlds, Chen mused. She turned to her old friend. Ready to make history again. The deep space expedition will need a good engineer. Are you kidding? Missed the chance to see how our hybrid systems perform in intergalactic space. Rodriguez grinned. Besides, someone needs to keep this obsolete ship running. Chen laughed, feeling the subtle vibration of the Helios' systems through the deck plates. Soon those familiar rhythms would be joined by the pulse of quantum drives, but the ship's heart would still beat to the same steady rhythm that had served them so well. As if reading her thoughts, Rodriguez added, "You know what the aliens told me yesterday. They're starting to appreciate the sound of humming engines and clicking relays. Said there's something comforting about technology you can hear and feel, not just quantum fields spinning in silence. They're learning." Chen smiled. "Just like we did. Sometimes the oldest lessons are the most important ones." Through the engineering bay window, Chen could see Mars glowing red in the distance. Around it, ships of both fleets moved in complex patterns, their quantum drives flashing while solar arrays caught the light of distant stars. Each vessel represented a perfect blend of the advanced and the basic, the new and the old, the quantum and the classical. The Helios would soon join them, leading humanity's first intergalactic expedition. But it would do so not as a relic of the past, nor as a purely quantum vessel, but as something new, a ship that honored its history while embracing the future, a testament to the truth that had saved Earth. Real progress meant building on your foundation, not abandoning it. As Chen watched the stars beyond Mars, she thought about the journey ahead. Thanks to the lessons learned in that first contact battle, humanity was reaching for the stars not just with quantum technology, but with the wisdom to remember their roots. The solar fleet hadn't just saved Earth. It had helped both civilizations find a better path forward, one that valued both innovation and tradition. The Helios hummed around her, its old systems working in perfect harmony with the new, ready for whatever adventures awaited in the depths of space. They had been called obsolete once, but they had become something far greater. Pioneers of a new age where the wisdom of the past and the wonders of the future worked together to light humanity's way to the stars.